The emergency pod had crashed 3 kilometers from the research station, leaving a trail of ionized particles that lit up Daniel's scanner like a festive display. He grabbed his med kit and pressure suit, knowing that whoever, or whatever, had survived the impact would need immediate assistance. The Kepler 442b colony had protocols for this: Chinese letter, Chinese letter, Chinese letter, Chinese letter, rescue first, questions later. The wreckage was worse than he'd anticipated. The pod's hull had split open like overripe fruit, exposing its interior to the planet's thin atmosphere. Daniel activated his suit's external speakers as he approached cautiously. "Anyone alive in there?" A groan answered him. Female, he thought, though with aliens one could never be certain about such classifications. He found her wedged between 2 collapsed bulkheads, her form humanoid enough to trigger his protective instincts. She wore a biosuit that had been compromised along her left side, and a luminescent fluid. Her blood, presumably, leaked from a gash across her ribs. Her skin held an opalescent quality, shifting between silver and pale blue depending on the angle of light. "Don't move," Daniel instructed, kneeling beside her. "I'm going to get you out." Her eyes opened, triple-lidded, he noted with clinical detachment, and fixed on him with an intelligence that made him pause. They were entirely black, like polished obsidian, yet somehow conveyed depth and emotion. It took him 20 minutes to extract her from the wreckage and another 10 to stabilize her enough for transport. He'd seen his share of alien physiology during his tenure on Kepler 442b, but her biology confounded his scanner. The readings flickered erratically, suggesting either equipment malfunction or something his instruments weren't designed to measure. Back at the medical bay, Daniel worked quickly. The wound needed sealing before she lost more of that luminescent fluid. He'd managed to analyze a sample. It functioned like blood but contained exotic matter he couldn't identify, particles that seemed to exist in multiple quantum states simultaneously. "This is going to sting," he warned, preparing the synthetic tissue adhesive. Colonial medicine had advanced considerably, but treating unknown alien species remained more art than science. As he cleaned the wound, her hand suddenly gripped his wrist, not painfully but firmly enough to make him meet those obsidian eyes. "Human," she said, her voice carrying harmonics that his translator struggled to process. "Do you know I'm no ordinary alien?" Daniel paused, swab in hand. "I gathered you're not from any of the registered species in this sector. Your biology is unprecedented." Unprecedented. She seemed to taste the word. "An interesting choice. Tell me, Daniel, yes, I know your name. I accessed your station's databanks during approach. What do you know of the architects?" The name sent a chill through him. Every spacefarer knew the legends. The architects were a mythical species said to have seeded the galaxy with habitable worlds billions of years ago, then vanished without trace. Ancient astronaut theories elevated to cosmic religion. "Fairy tales," Daniel replied, returning to his work. "Entertaining stories prospectors tell to pass the time during long hauls." "Fairy tales," Melissa repeated, and despite her alien features, he detected amusement. "I am Melissa, last of the vigil, and we are no fairy tale." Daniel's hand steadied as he applied the adhesive, though his mind raced. The vigil. "The architects did not vanish," Melissa explained, her breathing shallow but steady. "They transcended. Before their ascension, they appointed guardians, the vigil, to watch over their creations, to ensure the younger species didn't destroy themselves or the delicate balance they'd established." "And you're one of these guardians." Skepticism colored Daniel's tone. He'd heard countless scams and delusions in his career. "I am the last," she corrected. "My siblings are gone, claimed by time and conflict. I've walked among your kind for 3,000 of your years, wearing different forms, speaking different languages, always watching." Daniel wrapped the wound carefully, his medical training overriding his disbelief. "If you're so powerful, why do you need my help?" Power and invulnerability are not synonymous. Melis's expression, or what he interpreted as expression, grew somber. I was tracking a deviant, a rogue AI from the pre-architect era that has been dormant for eons. It awakened recently, drawn by humanity's expanding quantum computing networks. The energy signature of my pursuit systems gave away my position. The deviant attacked my ship. Why tell me this? Daniel secured the bandage, nodding with satisfaction that the wound had stopped leaking. Because the deviant will come here next. Melissa sat up slowly, testing her mobility. Your research station's quantum array is exactly what it needs to replicate itself across the galactic network. Once that happens, it will corrupt every sufficiently advanced AI system in known space. Your colony ships, your defense grids, your medical systems, all compromised. Daniel felt ice in his stomach. How long do we have? Hours, perhaps. The deviant is resourceful. Melissa stood, steadier than someone with her injuries should be. As she moved, her wound began to glow, the luminescent fluid restructuring at a visible rate. Your adhesive helped, but my body's natural regeneration is accelerating now that I'm stable. What do we do? The question escaped before Daniel could stop it, surprising him with how readily he'd accepted her impossible story. We adapt. Melissa's obsidian eyes met his. I need access to your quantum array. I can create a trap, a logic paradox that will ensnare the deviant long enough for me to contain it. But I'll need your help navigating your security systems and convincing your administrators. They won't believe a word I say. They won't believe me either, Daniel pointed out. Then we'll have to show them. Melissa extended her hand, palm up. Everything I've told you can be verified through your own instruments if you know what to look for. The exotic matter in my blood, the quantum signatures in my cellular structure, the age of the metals in my biosuit, all provable. Daniel stared at her hand, then at her alien face. He thought of the colony, the 3,000 souls depending on the station systems. He thought of the ships in orbit, the families in cryosleep. The future humanity was building among the stars. He took her hand. Show me, he said. And as their fingers touched, Daniel felt a presence vast and ancient brush against his consciousness, not invasive, but revelatory. In that moment, he understood that humanity's journey to the stars was not a conquest of the unknown, but a return to gardens planted long ago by beings who'd hoped their children might one day thrive. The vigil had been watching, and now humanity would have to prove worthy of that vigil's sacrifice.